Recently, I was on eBay late at night looking for new video ideas when I stumbled up on a faulty Thermomix TM6. I've always been interested in one because it simplifies cooking so much. But there's a big issue. They are almost $1,500. That's a lot of money in my opinion. So I got really excited when I saw this eBay listing. The description mentioned someone had rinsed it underwater in the sink. Okay, water damage devices could be minorly affected or they could be a total disaster. But maybe I could fix it? I couldn't resist placing a bid. Yeah. These machines rarely fail, which is why it's almost impossible to find a broken one on eBay. Bids started in coming in really quickly. I wasn't only unsure if I could win this auction, but also worried about what my wife would think of me risking hundreds of dollars on a device that might be even unfixable. The price kept rising, and with just 5 seconds left, I placed my final bid of $700. And I won. Wow, I wasn't sure how to feel about that, but one thing was very clear. If I could fix this easily, I could save $800 over the retail price. That's a no-brainer, or isn't it? Let's see what we have got. The Thermomix arrived in a moving box. Time to get it out of its prison. Between newspaper, the Thermomix is looking at us. The rest of the accessories are in the package, including some paperwork, but that doesn't matter right now. First, we need to see what's wrong with the Thermomix. I'm not sure about you, but I would clean my appliance much better than that, especially when I'm selling them. Maybe I'm just picky, but would you send out a device like this? By the way, these cracks in the front shell you see here were not mentioned in the auction. Enough talking, let's take it to the blue mat and try turning it on. This time I'm using a wider angle than usual, as you might notice if you're familiar with my channel. This is because the Thermomix is a quite large device. Let me quickly connect the power cord to show you more or less live how this cooking genius is currently not very useful. That's all we got, a white screen and nothing more. Usually we would see something on the screen. I hope the rest is working, but I can't say for sure. However, the green light indicates that something has booted up. It's time to unplug the power cord and start a timer for your reference. To access the inside, we need to remove this cover using a plastic spatula. Nice. Yummy. Now for the standard procedure, removing screws. After removing the outer ring of screws, I'm going to remove the handle. To do this, we have to unclip this cover. The handle is secured with these 2 screws. Afterwards, the handle can simply be pulled off. The screws on the bottom are deep inside, and I can't reach them with my screwdriver. To get around this problem, I use a tiny magnet as a sort of spacer on the bit to extend its length. You can use anything that fits as a spacer. Nice, that was enough to reach those sneaky screws. Okay, this should be it. We can now wiggle the upper half free to take a peek inside. Using a bigger spatula could be helpful if needed. This cable is in our way and must be unplugged. I can pull it off after releasing the little security latch. A second cable at the bottom must be removed to completely free the front cover. On the bottom we find more food or sauce. Whatever it may be, it seems this Thermomix has overcooked at least once, leading to all this residue inside. So perhaps it wasn't water damage, but food damage? Weird. I guess we will find out soon. After removing the bottom cable, we can more easily work on the front part. What we can see here is clearly more food residue, which is, to be honest, quite unpleasant. Let's focus on the screen area now. The small daughter board on the bottom is connected to the knob on the front, the rotary encoder. The larger unit above houses the screen and also contains the main PCB, which includes the processor and other components. I think it would be smart to remove the screen from the housing for easier access. There are plastic clips all around that need to be unlocked first.
Okay.
Take a look here. This seems a bit fishy. I believe some liquid has sneaked in underneath. To unlatch the clips, I use a pick and a spatula going all around. These are strong clips. It took quite some effort and there's a high chance of breaking these clips. To lift it out, the big knob on the front is in the way, so we need to pull it off. Nice, now the screen is free for inspection. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this video, I would be grateful if you could like it, which helps me reach more people. Thank you very much. It took quite some effort to get to this point. This device is built like a tank. Let's see what we find under the connector with the liquid residue.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of gunk and corrosion that might be preventing the screen from working properly. Time to grab our trusty microscope camera for a better view. The opposite side of the board itself also doesn't look too good, but it's not too bad either. This calls for IPA, also known as isopropyl alcohol, and a toothbrush. This will help us determine if the damage is just on the surface or if there's more severe damage on the board. With a dental pick, I will try to examine the greenish slime. I think we are in luck with this connector. I can't see any damage traces or anything that couldn't be scrubbed off. Now let's take a look at the ribbon cable. The green slime is all over the place.
What happened? Are you okay?
He slimed me.
That's great!
Let's make this nice and tidy too. A cotton swab is really good for cleaning up this mess. I'm surprised the liquid didn't damage both places more. It seems like everything can be cleaned up, which is great. To make the metal connections shiny, I will use a secret weapon, the eraser pen. It's a really soft eraser, which is great for making the rusty connections clean and shiny again. Now let's do the same thing on the other side. This looks pretty good. Now that both parts are clean, let's check if there's any more damage on the motherboard. Now this area looks at least dirty. I'm not sure why, but this looks like flux and not factory made. What do you think? Drop a comment, I would love to hear your opinion. Anyway, let's clean it all again with IPA and cosmetic tissue to soak up all the dirt and grime. Okay, I think that's all I can do for now. A quick wipe of the screen and making space for the next steps. Luckily, the rotary encoder board looks perfect, no residue or anything, that's great news. But before putting the screen on, we need to get rid of the food leftovers. Time to put the screen back in its place. Maybe you will notice a mistake I'm making here, more on this later. To put it in, we need to press all around to get all the clips snapping back in place, but we have to be careful not to press too hard and damage the screen, avoiding focused stress. The screen is in place. I will clean the case and then we can test it. Time to plug the cables back in. First one's reconnected, just one more to go. Second one done too. Sorry about the camera angle, it's really hard to film everything with this big device. Let's put the knob back on. You see me just pushing it in, but there's a flat part inside that should match the flat side on the opposite side. Luckily, everything clicks into place after some rotations. That explanation was a bit odd, but I hope you got what I mean. Now for the fun part, plugging in the power cord. We've got power, let's switch it on. Nothing? Seriously? I heard a relay inside, so I'm sure it's not a power issue. That was the moment I realized something went wrong. Remember when I asked if you could spot a mistake? There it is, I forgot to connect the screen to the motherboard. So let's reopen it. The cable is tucked behind, so I will carefully try to pull it out using a spatcher with a hook on one side. Now let's plug it back in and give it another go. I really hope it works and my wife doesn't get mad at me for burning our money.
Fingers crossed again. Yes! Hell yeah!
You could hear the excitement in my voice, and I felt great to see the screen come to life and everything seemed to work so far. The touchscreen worked, the knob is working flawlessly, and the device booted up completely, so I put everything back together and we even cooked with the Thermomix this evening. We should be happy, right? And yeah, we were happy, until the next morning. I went into the kitchen to check something in the Thermomix settings, but after turning it on, I was greeted again by the white screen of death. So I rechecked the connector and the ribbon cable, but everything was still in perfect shape. Then I thought maybe the fault is similar to the plague that haunts every Game Boy, as shown in my last video. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you do. Anyway, I tried reflowing this area, hoping to eliminate our white screen of death. Unfortunately, this didn't fix the problem. I need to figure out how to get deeper inside, because the plastic cage and the motherboard on top make it impossible to examine the screen board itself. I started to peel back the rubber gasket, but this approach led to nothing except for a loose gasket that is nearly impossible to put back in its original position. The only way I see to get a better look is by removing the motherboard of the Thermomix TM6, this one with a big cooling part on it. It seems the board is held in place by the cooler, which is secured by a plastic clip similar to the ones we saw earlier on the sides of the screen. I use a spatcher to get in there and unlock the clip to release the cooler. Here we go. There is some residue on the cooler, but nothing underneath it has been damaged. Now we can lift it out of the case. Luckily, the motherboard is still in good shape, because I haven't found anywhere to get these as spare parts. Right now I'm more interested in the part that's lying on the table, the screen unit. The good thing is I see a large area protected by Captain Tape, so I really can't blame the engineers from vorwerk who designed this product for poor engineering. The downside of this good protection is that the clear plastic around it seems to be completely welded, so I have no chance to get under it without destroying it, which is not what I want. Let's check under the microscope to see if we can spot any liquid damage beneath the tape. I think I have found some. It's a big ribbon cable connection that goes to the screen itself. This could be the culprit. I need to remove the tape to inspect it and check for any damage. But it's not as easy as it might seem. The edges of the tape are tucked far under the welded plastic cover, making them unreachable. I'm going to use this flat plastic tool to try to get under it and peel it off. Unfortunately, this didn't work out as I expected. I have no choice, I need to cut it and try to peel it off from this point. It's now clear that liquid sneaked under the tape and the connector we cleaned earlier was just the tip of the iceberg. Let's clean it with isopropyl alcohol and hope that this solves the problem. After that, I will also use the eraser pencil. The dirt is gone, but will it work? Confident that it will, I replaced the Kapton tape to protect it. Insert the motherboard and give it a try.
Let's see.
It's so disappointing to have a product work perfectly for one evening and then fail again the very next day. I dug further into the guts of the screen unit and found more and more liquid damage.
More liquid damage. Hell no.
As you can see, there's a lot more damage to the board than it first appeared. I cleaned everything as well as I could and even resoldered some ICs to make it work. But in the end, the result was always the same. Was it easy to fix without any additional expenses? No. But I'm quite hopeful that with a replacement screen, the Thermomix will work like a charm. So I bought one on eBay and I'm waiting for its arrival. It cost me around $186, including shipping. So we would still save around 650 bucks, which is still a good amount of money. You remember, I mentioned the gamer floor during the video. Watch this to see exactly what happens and why none of them will be spared. And as always, happy tinkering!